All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BBL 360 Podcast. With us tonight, we've got Rosco. We've got our sports tragic, who's soon to be doing the Sydney to Hobart, Timo. Me, Braddo. And we've got a real special guest with us, Jimmy Neesham. Jimmy is no stranger to sports fans across the world, really, and cricket fans. His exploits in the World Cup speak for themselves. A couple of World Cups where he absolutely shone. And I hope I'm not embarrassing you, Jimmy, but one of only a handful of people to score a century on debut and follow it up with a century in his second Test match, which is friggin' fantastic. That's an amazing sort of a feat. You signed with the Hobart Hurricanes. How are you fitting in down there?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Those two tests feel like a long time ago now. I think I've played about 200 T20s since that last test. But obviously fitting in with the Hobart lads really well. We had our first win last night, which is always good to get the monkey off the back early in the tournament. And great bunch of guys and playing a fair bit of golf and that sort of thing. And fitting in nicely. So really hoping to have a bit of success over the next few weeks.
Who's your most annoying in that change room at the moment?
No one's annoying. I've actually had a couple of 3-hour car rides with Chris Tremaine, which has been very interesting. He's a very knowledgeable man. He knows a lot more than I do about pretty much any subject that I've brought up the whole time. So it's been a learning experience in more ways than one the last few days. And just happy to fit in with the group and get out on their field and have some success.
Oh, good stuff. So what can you tell us about, obviously last night, it was great to see some success out there. What can you tell us about Julie? He looks a character and a half. I think all sport lovers and cricket lovers, BBL lovers are loving watching him. It's a cracker to see a character out there.
Yeah, he's a passionate guy. He's I think he may have had one game last year or the year before with the Brisbane Heat, just when everyone was unavailable for COVID. So he had a little bit of an experience, a Big Bash before, but apart from that, he's pretty fresh and he's an interesting bloke. He carries his foam roller around with him everywhere, and he's always loosening up his glutes and his hammies. So he's a professional kind of operator and. He's been bowling fantastically for us as well. He got some really big wickets for us in the power play, some big names, and he's got that mystery element about him, I guess, where guys aren't 100% sure which way the ball's turning, and when you've got that on your side, obviously you can wreak havoc with even the best batsmen in the world. So hopefully he can continue that form going through the rest of the tournament.
You've had to face him in the nets. How do you find him?
I haven't actually. No, it's the nature of how tournaments work these days is that you kind of rock up, a couple of days before, and we had a bit of rain in Hobart as well before our first game, so we didn't do a whole lot of outdoor training, but certainly enjoying watching him operate and potentially having to put some notes down as well, because I imagine he's the sort of bloke that I might have to face a couple of times in a few different T20 leagues around the world over the next few years, because those sorts of mystery spinners are always in demand for different tournaments.
Well, talking mystery spinners, who's your least favourite to line up against, Rashid or Mujeeb? Who puts a bit of fear in you?
Well, Tim David got me out in the T20 Blast last summer. So non-spinning off spinners are my kryptonite. Leg spinners, I don't spend a whole lot of time awake at night worrying about, but. I've faced Muji and Rash before. Actually played with Mujeeb in the IPL for a season, so I had a lot of experience facing him in the nets. And I think they're both extremely challenging bowlers. It depends a lot on the conditions that you have to face them in, whether it's turning or holding, or whether you get them hopefully on an Adelaide Oval pitch that's an absolute belter and you can just sort of slog sweep everything. But plenty of planning time goes into those sorts of bowlers, and you just try and execute game plans as well as you can. But the reality is, when they're that good, they'll get you every now and then.
All right. Now, my last one for you. Now, Twitter, you obviously got a bit of a following on Twitter, and I used to, have a bit of a chuckle every now and again at some of the sarcasm, etc., that you used to pop out with. you want to have a bit of an explanation about the one that I loved was your theory about waist high deliveries. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to let everyone know about your theory about how to determine waist high deliveries? As to no balls.
I've actually thought about this since that tweet. And well, basically what I said was that you should just measure everyone's waist before the game. And then if there's a waist high full toss, you just use Hawkeye to tell you how high it is. And then it's a foolproof system. But I've thought about it a bit more. And that annoys me because if you're taller, you're obviously at a massive disadvantage because your waist is higher, which I think is rubbish. If you're taller, the wide line isn't wider because you're taller, and it's not narrow because you're shorter. So why should a waist high no ball be the same? And I've now got a different theory where I think it should be the top of the stumps should be a no ball. If a ball is passing over the top of the stumps on the full, it should be a no ball. And that's easy as pie to work out through Hawkeye because that's just in a straight line rule where it ends up, and that'll be foolproof. And it also means that little bastards like fucking Joe Ingles and not Joe Ingles. What? Joe Ingles is the Jazz basketball player. The little fellas don't get all these waist high no balls that would have hit me in the knee and I would have been out too. So yeah, that'll be my advantage as well.
Mate, I'm a 5 foot tall midget, so look, I'd be loving it. Every ball would be a no ball to me.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, what's a waist? Is it just where you wear your pants? What even is a waist?
And I'm a school teacher. Like how far down some of the boys wear their shorts these days. It's your waist is just there somewhere between like your belly button and your kneecap.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. And really, we've just been wandering around in the dark for the last 200 years of cricket, just listening to these rules that don't even actually tell you what a waist is. So it's time to get some clarity on the whole matter.
Oh, that's gold. You've actually got me thinking now about a wide, because I'm thinking now, Sterling, who plays for Ireland.
Mm.
Well, he's not the slimmest person in the world. So how is a wide for him the same as a wide for you?
Well, it's all relative, isn't it?
That's it. I mean, he nearly makes the wide line.
What happens if these people that are like the world's shortest person, who's like 50 centimeters tall, can they just come out and bat in an international game, and if you bowl anything except a perfect Yorker, it's no ball?
International cricket.
It's a cheat code. You just win every game.
That's fantastic. It'd be like a getting a free run in baseball. Like just hit them.
A walk. They're in a lot of trouble if you do bowl a perfect Yorker, though. That's the only hole in the plan.
I love it.
All right, Gold. All right, we might throw over to Timmy. How are you shaving up there, Tim? You want to ask Jimmy a couple of questions?
Yeah, mate. Look, I'm 43. I'll be 43 on Christmas Eve. I'm still mad into my sports. I play over 35 soccer, and I'm mad into sailing as well. As I said before, I'm doing the Sydney to Hobart this year. First time I've had a run since my kids were born. So my oldest one's 8 years old. Or about to turn 8. So, yeah, mate, I still play. Look, obviously professional sportsman outside of cricket. What else have you had a crack at? What were you good at as a kid? How did you did you have any favourite sport growing up, or has it just always been cricket?
I'm having a good crack at golf at the moment. I'm playing that far more games of golf than I played cricket over the last 6 months. So, yeah, having a good go at that. I'm a big basketball fan, obviously, with the hoodies. So I watched a lot of NBA and played basketball as well when I was a kid growing up. And obviously, New Zealanders all play rugby when we grow up as a kid as well. So, I was a very sporty kid. I did all sorts of stuff like water polo and football and rugby and all that kind of thing. And it just kind of worked out in the end that cricket was kind of what I was best at. And when I was 16 or 17, started focusing on that, and it's all been a reasonably sort of smooth transition, I guess, and all the other ones just fall by the wayside. And I'm probably allowed now to play social basketball when I go back home, now that I'm not New Zealand contracted anymore and they can't tell me that I can't do it. So yeah, I'll be getting back on the court again when I get back to Auckland, whenever that may be.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So that's good to know for our young viewers that you don't always have to be a rock star legend from under 8s, under 9s. It's you said that you weren't till so you were 16, 17, something like that, before you started to focus really heavily on cricket.
Yeah. I didn't say I wasn't a rock star legend when I was 12. I just said that I played a lot of other sports as well.
You fit in well with the rest of it.
I sort of swear by playing as many different sports as you can. I think you look at guys like Ross Taylor, I think one of the fellas from Sydney, Ross, I think, Sydney or Strikers, they both played hockey really late, and that's given them the ability to slog sweep and do all that kind of thing. And a lot of the guys in our team are multi-sport athletes, and it just helps with your coordination, I guess, and also keeping everything fresh. You're not just doing the same thing, week in, week out, all year round. You kind of get to winter and you look forward to playing a bit of rugby, and then it gets to the end of winter and you're sick of getting smashed by big fellas. Then you just go, I can't wait to go out and play cricket again. So yeah, it certainly helped me when I was a kid growing up. And the other thing that obviously was a massive help was having parents that were willing to drive you to all these different sports practices and stuff the whole time. And I think they were pretty happy when I turned 16 and got my own license and could finally carry that sort of schedule on my own.
It's pretty easy though in New Zealand, isn't it? Like it's only about this long on the map. So I mean, how far can it be to drive really?
Yeah, no, you have like a game done in Hamilton. You just take your skateboard and just head off down the State Highway line. Yeah, I think at one point it's like 50 meters wide. So yeah, no, it's certainly not traveling like it is in Australia, where you have a 30-hour drive between two countries or two cities in the same state. It's not like that.
Mate, that does lead into our next question. This actually came from one of the boys on our website. Wants to know the similarities between the Hobart pitch and then Dunedin and Christchurch.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I haven't actually played on the Hobart pitch yet. I've had.
I was going to say you probably haven't spent much time out there.
Half a training. I did look around kind of outside the stadium, and it actually reminded me a lot of Wellington, Hobart, with sort of the hills and the shrubbery and greenery around. And I said to one of the lads, it reminded me of Wellington. It was also pretty cold and really windy that day as well, which probably made it seem a little bit more familiar. But no, I reckon I'm into the double digits now of the number of times people have told me that Hobart is like New Zealand. So I'm certainly looking for the similarities.
Awesome. Rosco, away to you, mate.
Oh, hi, Jimmy. So first question I've got for you. So, what's your favourite ground you've played cricket at?
Favourite ground? Lords is obviously pretty special. I think I like the SCG as well, just for the history and the pavilion, and it's a bit of a shame the away changing rooms are kind of shit, but the rest of the grounds, amazing. The MCG obviously, and I actually I love touring South Africa. I enjoy sort of Cape Town and Durban and those places. There's a lot to do, a lot to see, sort of away from the ground as well. So I've given you about 8 options there, but I'd say Lords number 1.
Yeah. All right. Do you support an NRL side at all?
The Warriors, of course. I'm looking forward to hopefully managing to get to my first home game for about 3 years when I'm back in New Zealand, because obviously the lads have been stuck in Australia. But I'm a long-suffering Warriors supporter.
That's all right. I support the Tigers, so I know how you feel.
Yeah, that's arguably worse.
Definitely worse.
So what? Okay, I've got the next question. What's probably the best game of cricket you've been involved in?
The best game of cricket?
Yeah.
It's probably... I'd say the obvious answer is the World Cup final in 2019. Super overs and that kind of thing. And I actually... There was another similar game in the 2013 Champions League for Otago. We had a game against the Lions, who are a South African team. A similar sort of thing, tied tied after the regular time, and then super over, and then a tied super over as well on boundary count. So one of those two, I think. We won the one in 2013, which is why I probably enjoyed it a bit more.
Probably I'm going to ask this: the bowler you fear facing the most?
I faced one ball of Saeed Ajmal in my career, and I thought it was a wide half volley, and then my middle stump got pegged back. So that wasn't all that enjoyable. Honestly, it's like little nude off spinners, like Muhammad Hafiz and Moeen Ali. It's just these guys that it just comes out the front of the hand, and as a left-hander, you're looking at the ball going, I got no idea whether that's going to turn or not. And it's much more embarrassing to get out to that than it is if Mitch Stark comes in and tails one back and knocks back your middle pole, and you just go, oh, well, he's done that to about 150 other guys.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite food?
Mexican.
Yeah. And I've got to ask you one more thing too. I've got to ask you how your toe is after the game last night. I saw a bit of a photo of your toe. Was that a legit photo that I saw?
That's fake news from old Andrew Dwyer. So that's about a year old, that photo. He got me in the blast in I'm going to say July. Speared a Yorker down leg, and I tried to flick it on its way and missed it, and it hit me right on the big toe. So I've actually just got the nail back, and obviously I had to get it cut out and all that kind of thing. So it's now about 6 or 7 months later. So the toenail's just back and looking beautiful again, as all my toes on my feet do.
Yeah, it's something about copying a ball from Andrew Ty or something on it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll find a way to get in my foot again. It's the occupational hazard of batting at the death, is that people are just hunting your feet the whole time.
Yeah. Hey, just a quick question, James. As a sports star, it's I'm always interested to know. I've talked to a few different guys over the years about their own stats. You've obviously played all over the world. You've played a lot of different grounds. You've played so many different formats now. Do you have any idea what your own sort of stats are for particular grounds from game to game or like across the different formats of cricket? Is it something that you keep an eye on, or have you got a partner or anything that likes to remind you of how well you're doing or how poorly you're doing at particular grounds or anything like that?
No, I think if my partner reminded me of my cricket stats, I think it should be up the door pretty quickly. It's not the kind of chat that you want to have when you get back after a day's cricket. I mean, I think I think all cricketers go, I don't even look and I don't know. I think all cricketers kind of know the gist of their stats, kind of what they average in different formats. But no, I have absolutely no idea kind of ground to ground or matchups with other bowlers or whatever. No, that's far too specific. But I reckon I'd be able to get pretty close to kind of test batting average, bowling average, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think so.
So considering we're all super coaches, the guys that watch this show, what do we need to keep an eye on to put you in our super coach teams?
All right. Yeah.
Give us the inside, mate.
I'd say short straight boundaries and spinners turning the ball into the left-hander, I'd say, would be the two things that I pray for when I'm about to go down to the ground.
They don't mind a leg spinner or two.
Yeah. No, I think when I got picked up at the IPL last year, I went into Kumar Sangakkara pulled me into his room and he said, he had a big whiteboard there with all these numbers on it, and he goes, "Why do you think you're here?" And I had a few different answers in my head, but I went for hitting at the death and slogging spin. And he sort of unveiled the whiteboard and he goes, "Exactly." And he had the numbers there, and it was, green and red and orange, and spin turning into the left-hander was like bright red, which means basically pump it. So I think that's my role in most of the teams.
Did you enjoy the Indian experience? Are you aiming up to get back, or?
I think this year will be a return to normal in respects. I think it's been, I think it has been in bio bubbles for the last 3 seasons. So it has honestly been quite challenging, just being locked inside and not having a whole lot of freedom. And it's not really the Indian experience. It's just in a hotel that could be anywhere in the world, and playing with a lot of other Indian cricketers. So I was lucky enough to play in the IPL 6 or 7 years ago at Delhi when it was a proper outside experience, and I loved it. And obviously keen to get back. I'm in the auction again. I think it's next week or something. But I also have a lot of cricket leading up to that. I'm going to South Africa in their T20 comp, and then going to Pakistan as well in the PSL. So there's a lot of water to go under the bridge until May or whenever the IPL kicks off. So whether I get picked up in a week's time, that'd be great. If not, it'll be good to get home as well and have a bit of time at home and a bit of time chilling.
Talking about getting picked up, didn't some Bollywood actress once propose to you via Twitter or something crazy like that?
Yeah, that happened.
That sounds like a no comment.
Yeah,
we'll leave that.
It happened for sure. That was a Pakistani actress. I'm not sure. I think movies and stuff. But that request was denied.
Well, obviously, it was just, I do remember it from, it's a fair while ago, but it was, I remember some of the responses and crap that went around Twitter sphere was quite amusing at the time. You did deal with it.
I've done a long distance relationship, within New Zealand, Auckland to Dunedin and Auckland to Wellington before. I think that was manageable. I think, Auckland to Lahore is probably a little bit. It's a city, by the way. It's a little bit too far to go. I just want to make sure there wasn't a.
I'm just off to see Lahore.
Halfway through that sentence.
Who's Jimmy? I got to ask you one more thing. Who do you think the team's going to be to beat in the BBL this year? Who's the team that you think is going to win it? Obviously, would like to see Hurricanes win it, but outside them, who do you think's the main dangers?
Yeah, Hobart excluded, obviously. Who do we have? I think the Scorchers are good again. I think they've got a good bowling attack. I think the Renegades are looking better than they have in a long time, but I'm just a little bit worried about how they'll look when those overseas guys leave after sort of the first half of the tournament, sort of who they get in to replace and stuff. So, they're looking good. And then I think, the Stars as well are good. When Stoinis can stop kissing Zampa and giving each other COVID, they'll be able to get out and dominate a few attacks, I think.
Oh, we were joking about that the other day, saying that's probably how he got it. And I'm just like, oh my God. We're as I said, we're mad on the BBL with the super coach and stuff. And when he didn't bowl those first 2 games after getting his 2 ducks, I think there was a lot of very disappointed people.
Yeah, I saw him after the game in Melbourne when he got his 2nd duck, and he was obviously separate from the team and didn't field and didn't bowl and not allowed in the changing rooms, all that kind of thing. And I saw him as he was walking out to the car, and I said, "Worth the trip, mate?" And he so laughed at me, and he said, "The last 2 have been real good."
So you've got a former teammate coming and playing with the Renegades shortly. How do you think Martin Guptill will fit in at the Renegades there? It's a big pickup for the Renegades after obviously losing Liam Livingston.
Yep. That was news a couple of weeks ago, I guess. I know him and Aaron Finch are good mates going from way back. I think they might have been at the IPL or something together, so I know that they get along famously. And Guppy's obviously got a whole heap of power at the top of the order. I'm not sure where the Renegades' next few games are, but if he can get on some short boundaries, on some flat wickets, then he can certainly be as destructive as anyone in the world. So looking forward to seeing him come and dominate. And I think I might leave just as he sort of turns up, so I don't have to bowl to him either, which is always a bonus.
Hey, mate, just a quick thing. You're just giving some stick to Stoinis. Mate, I want to know, how much stick did you boys give to Darcy Short last night after like fielding with two left hands or something?
Yeah. Nah, it's always good when you can have a bit of a nightmare like that and you still win, because then everyone laughs about it in the change room afterwards instead of looking at you sideways. The best part of it, he lost the first one in the lights, which does happen.
Was that his excuse or what?
He was saying that loud. Yeah, he was coming out of that, and then we were at cover next to each other, and he was going, buddy, in the lights, and I said, it's all right, mate. We all drop them. Everyone drops catches, and he turns to me and he goes, I don't. And then about 5 hours later, another one hit to him and shelled it again. And I was looking at him, and I couldn't look him in the eye. I was like, oh my god. But,
that's the best part. That's the best part about him as a super coach player, because he always fields in really good spots, bats well. Mate, he's a handy player to have in your super coach team. But I'm sure there was plenty of other guys that bought him as a pod last night and just shaking their heads. We were certainly doing plenty of stick on out.
You like negative points for drop catches and stuff, or is it?
Yeah, negative points for drop catches.
Yeah.
Especially when there's
points for scoring no runs, because I wouldn't have been that good either.
When are you going to have a bowl, Jimmy? That's what we want to know. You haven't had a bowl yet.
Well, the whole thing is that I'm kind of got Paddy Dooley and Shadab Khan and me.
Yeah.
We're kind of the fifth and sixth bowler sort of combined. So yeah, what's going to happen is what always happens to me is that when we're playing on average wickets and decent sized boundaries, the spinners just all bowl their 4 overs, and it's fantastic. We're going to get on an absolute belter at Adelaide Oval or somewhere with there's short square boundaries, and one of them's going to get slogged for 20 off and over, and then I'm going to have to bowl 3 overs at the back end. And so it's going to be trying to escape from whoever it is that's absolutely pumping us everywhere. So it's one of the good challenges of being an all-rounder, I guess. And I'll be ready to go when required.
Do you have a preference, batting or bowling?
I prefer batting. Bowling hurts, so it's kind of like physically, I'm no spring chicken anymore at 32. So I don't think I'll be bowling 20 overs in a 4-dayer again anytime soon. But batting's the most fun. Hitting the ball into the second tier and looking into a bowler's eyes and knowing that he's just absolutely terrified. That's a pretty good feeling.
Oh, no spring chicken. Give yourself a break. Fuck, I got 20 years on you, mate.
You're the youngest out of all of us, mate. And we all still like to play sport.
32, 35 as an all-rounder is doing well. So, 3 years left, hopefully, and maybe squeeze the lemon a little bit longer than that. We'll have to see how we go.
I've got to ask you, what did you think of the pitch for the Gabba test for the Australia and South Africa game that was just finished? To be completed in 2 days. I mean, there was a lot of controversy from a few players having their say about how bad the pitch was. What did you make of it all?
Oh yeah, if the question had been, would you rather bat or bowl on the Gabba pitch, I certainly wouldn't have said I prefer batting. It looked pretty spicy. There's a few bowlers on both sides that get the ball to talk in the flattest of conditions. So it's an interesting debate, isn't it? I think if a game finishes in 2 days in the subcontinent and it spins square the whole time, it's deemed as a terrible pitch. And yet, if the same thing happens when it's green and it seams around, it sort of seems to be accepted a little bit more. But that can happen. I think there's been a lot of rain around Australia the last couple of weeks. It can be difficult to prepare a dry enough pitch, and when you have 2 extremely potent seam attacks up against some batting lineups that have a little bit of a couple of holes in them, and that can happen at the best of times. So what it does do is it adds a bit of spice leading into the second test, which will no doubt be a flatter wicket in Melbourne.
Yeah, would have made it interesting if South Africa had made another 60 runs.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, you also look and you go, would Australia have batted the same way in the 4th innings if they were chasing 100 versus chasing 30? There was a few kind of pretty aggressive options taken from the top order. So,
absolutely.
It's hard to know. It's sliding doors in Test cricket, isn't it? You never know what would have happened with another 20 or 30 runs or a toss the other direction or whatever. But I'll certainly be tuning in on Boxing Day.
I actually did enjoy for once seeing a test match where a little bit was given to the bowlers rather than these dead flat wickets that we've been presented with around the world. Predominantly, there's a lot on the subcontinent. So these dead flat tracks that are just, it's good to see the batters get 200 or 300 runs, but getting the bowlers some sort of it was just good to see, even from the person watching. It was lovely to see him get a crack at it.
You should watch some cricket in New Zealand then. That's what the pitch is like every time.
Beautiful. All right, Jimmy, we might be wrapping it up about now. I'd like to really thank you a million times over. This has been fantastic. Brief little quick chat, and I think every one of us has really loved it. Anything else, boys?
No, I just want to say thanks again, Jimmy, for your time, and appreciate you making time out of your busy schedule to come on, have a chat with us. So thank you.
No worries, guys. Thanks a lot. That was a pleasure.
All right.
Awesome to have you on, mate. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Thank
Good luck with the voting.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Good luck for the rest of the
looking
season,
forward to it.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
See you, buddy.